Hello?
Hello.
Ooh, Jeff, I like what you're doing already.
That is so awesome.
How being able to actually draw instead of using a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the movement, I really hit a brick wall with it yesterday. I just couldn't get the dash to feel right, and it really is because it just does not feel right with that, with the walk speed. It needs a run button. I feel like.
We kind of agreed that we'd have a run
Dave
button, right?
or Jeff didn't love the idea of a run button. I made a run. It's not super fast. I put some, and also just I think the fact that I didn't have a run sprite yet really hurt it too. So I put some Ninja Gaiden sprites in there.
I've played around with your version a little bit.
So did you notice the comment I put about the bug on the jump?
No, I didn't look at the code. I just played around with it. And
It's
then
it's not actually in the code. It's in the Git, but.
No, I haven't looked at. I just pulled it and then.
So like, there's a kind of a nice. It actually feels kind of nice sometimes, but then other times it feels like your jump speed is just crazy. But like, if you're holding the dash, it'll like speed.
Actual jumping that could be interesting, but fixed to kind of keep.
Yeah. So basically, like, the yeah, like it actually feels good, almost like a Yoshi butt stomp kind of thing when you're coming down. So I might like if it's going to be able to be used to be. I'm not sure if jumping should be totally contextual, like just when you hit a ledge or whatever, or if you should be able to like sort of do like a quick hop to in place of like the dash behind things hidey thing I was trying to do. But I'm working on it. It's coming along. I'm also going to put a contextual, like, automatically, like, ledge grab and hop up thing.
Are we gonna be jumping?
I was just saying, like, I'm not sure yet if we should have, if anything, it'll be a contextual jump, like when you hit an edge, you'll just jump.
Programming and listening.
But like, it's more like you wouldn't be doing the jumping. It would just be, we would make the level so that if you were holding now the jump button, I guess, or the, it's contextual actually. When you're running, so we had talked yesterday about like, when you're running, you shouldn't be able to attack because we don't want it to turn too twitch reflexy. You should have like, running should be a sneaky thing, or if you're like, or maybe just like a relatively obvious thing. Dave wants you to be able to like jump out and like kill, surprisingly, but like we don't want people just holding down the run button all the time. So I have to figure out a way to limit that. Either it's I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But like I think a contextual jump is what I'm leaning towards right now. Like if you're on a rooftop at the rooftop house party and you're in the background and you want to climb down in a somewhat risky way where you might be seen, you just hold this button while you're dashing. I'm thinking of assigning it to the same thing as the attack button, since you can't attack anyway when you're running. And then you'll like sort of ledge grab automatically and jump down.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's like Assassin's Creed. You hold down the button and you can climb things.
Yes, yeah, basically.
That sounds fun to me. I mean, again, my theory is if you think it could be cool, throw it in. We'll test it. There's the. I was also thinking like, well, I don't know. We kind of talked about this slightly, but like, should you be stopped from fully moving out of cover, and just have like you peek out and then can press a button prompt to actually execute the dash to the next object?
So the
Like,
dash.
does that feel good in kind of like that Assassin's Creed way, where they really take a lot of the like Assassin's Creed feels cool to move in because it takes a lot of the effort off the player.
So that's well, Dave wanted it to be a skillful thing, but like the actual, the dash just does not feel right. Like it like without a what I had said last night. I don't know if you were around for this, but like the dashing out of that slow of a basic. I like the actual speed of the basic move speed. It's fine for walking around. It's good. But then, like, without a run button, the dash just feels incredibly unnatural no matter how I do it. Like, I literally fucked around with it all day yesterday, basically. And what I'm thinking now is, like, yeah, there is a run button, and then you just, like, the dash is like you start running and then hold down as if to crouch, and you'll, like, knee slide.
Yeah, I saw you doing a little bit of that before. I think that's gonna take some, again, it'll really just be put a bunch of stuff in. We'll try it and see what feels best.
Yeah,
I think a system could feel good where you like have a lerp at the edge of an object that just says, okay, lerp to the maximum, like how much we're gonna let you peek out. And then you'll
like a hold button,
and then it asks you for a button prompt, say, and
yeah, I'd be down for that.
Then you automatically dash to the next closest hiding object.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. That would be cool.
It could feel nice,
But what if the next closest? What's the limit? Like, what if the next closest hiding object is way across the room?
We could have a range, obviously, and then if there's nothing in range, you literally just do a roll out or something like that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like the you can like in sort of easy mode for high, like it shouldn't really depend on like maybe for some reason the movement without or if you can, if Dave has a problem with it, we can just be like, well, this is just like, because originally he was like, I want there to be like dynamic movement in the back where if you're a skilled player, you can actually be very sneaky, and I could see him possibly being against the whole like
the skill in it will come with doing like when you do it, really, not how you do it.
Yeah, I think that's more
if
in
you
the
have to worry
spirit.
too much about both, it becomes difficult.
Yeah, I think that's more in the spirit of the game, right? Like
otherwise the skill would have to be, okay, it's literally a teleport, or the dash animation is so subtle that you can't see it at all, and that's where you need to take one of the worries away, either the timing or the how. Yeah, I don't think you want to be worrying about both. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but though off the top of my head, it feels like, if you're playing the game, I'm worrying too much about how I slide across this thing to make sure I get over there like fully covered, rather than when I do it. Then it's harder to pay attention to the rest of the map to see when things are going on that might be distracting. But
yeah,
I could be wrong about that, but that's how I feel now.
Yeah, that seems like we have to play it and see kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's all.
Alright, I'm trying to set in here. I'm gonna fix this creation code thing right now. What objects are you working in, Chris?
I'm about to take them out to the park, so do whatever. I've done what I'm doing for the morning.
I'm gonna move all of the lists that I copy over all to one object and just say fuck it, and then I'll just pull the list to the object that needs it.
So you're gonna make like a controller for?
Yeah, in the spawn controller, I'll rename that to just NPC controller.
That was something I was unsure about why it existed in both places. I know you explained
the
it.
lists always are still going to exist in multiple places, because remember, so the point of copying them to multiple places is I've learned from other people, from forums, and even from Game Maker's manual itself says.
Oh yeah, also with that 30% thing. That 30% thing, yeah. Let me send me that or put that in the chat, because I will want to read that before I go back to my other game. I don't think.
Just Google like instant or variable run speeds or something like that. I just Googled it.
Variable run
variable-
speeds.
Yeah, variable or I forget what it is. Game Maker 2 variable something like access speeds or something. But the point being is that when the slowest actually turned out to be, here's one of the things I read. There's a couple of things out there. This is just a regular forum post of someone testing it themselves. But we could test this ourselves actually if we doubted it. But there's a couple of things that sort of agree with this.
It kind of makes sense, right? Like,
But essentially they're saying
I'm just because in my other game I'm gonna need enemies that are locked to rooms, and I think I'll only need to sync when the players are in the same room. But then I want enemies that can exit rooms. Like I want certain rooms where the door's closed and this is an encounter now, and that's fine. But I want other enemies that will always be moving around and controlled by the server.
Well, that won't matter. So when it matters is when you need to reference a list somewhere else that was created by something else. So that's when, or reference any variable that was. If one object needs to reference a variable stored in another object. If it's just a one-off and it's not doing it all the time, it doesn't matter. But because I'm doing it for a lot of NPC stuff, which requires me looping through 50 to 100 sprites, or 50 to 100 instances, then at that point, and doing that every step, at that point, I'm worried about efficiency.
Is this the reason not to use built-in speed variable? I typed in Game Maker variables run speeds, right?
No, speed of variables is. I sent you a Steam link of one of the things I found that
Okay.
this is like this is clearly just a forum post, so take it with a grain of salt. But I saw a couple of things when I was looking through that back this kind of information up.
Okay.
And even Game Maker, the manual somewhere it says copy the variables in other objects to local variables because it's just faster. But you'll notice the self variable, which is just when you have it stored in the creation code or stored locally on the object on the instance. So yeah, it's a little bit deceiving, but instance variable here would be another instance. Self variable would be yourself. Like,
okay.
You don't have to put a dot in front of it. It just recognizes it in that scope. But that's the fastest. And look at it, look how much slower the instance variable is. 303 microseconds versus 70.
Okay, yeah. I
So the point is, I'm gonna, anything that has a list, so you can't do this with arrays, because arrays don't work that way. Arrays are are passed by reference and not by pointer. But you can do it with data structures, anything that's a data structure. So I make all the lists. I'll make all the lists in the greater controller, and then I'm going to copy those locally to the objects that need to use them, so that I don't have to constantly grab the list, the pointer, the memory location from the controller.
right. Okay. Let's see.
But that creates the creation code issue in Game Maker. So the answer is going to have to be I create all the lists in one object and then copy them out. And that object has to be made first.
I have to fix something here. Actually, I will maybe be messing a little bit around with the player move script, but that's it. And the dash script, but that shouldn't affect you. I don't actually understand why this is here. This is literally the exact same code. Why did I put this here? Whenever I start the game in not full screen, I get like a weird framiness to it for like 10 seconds and then it goes away. Just to make it easier for now. Let's get rid of the dash.
I think Game Maker's being weird and we have to close and reopen. Because it seems to be constantly... It refuses to take my code changes.
That's incredibly bizarre. I've never had that happen.
like it was happening, and then it wouldn't.
I've had it happen with sprites, but never with actual code.
Like I had the literally the line I had commented out was the one causing the issue. I think it's broken. I'm gonna have to revert. This is fucking garbage. It's saying it occurred in object player server create line 0 or 0 the create 0 line 13. Oh no, this is my fault. My fault. I'm not getting any slowdown in.
It's just something about my computer, I think, but you know, it could happen to other people's computers, and I don't know.
Yeah, so
what.
worry. Can you show me?
It's not doing it now, actually.
What you could be seeing is not lag. If you're seeing jittery sprites, it could be a mismatch in the resolution and the movement speed.
Yeah,
We had an
it
issue with
is.
that
It is.
with,
It is like, yeah, more jittery.
We had an issue with that with Necroskull, where if you didn't set the movement speed to the right value for the
Room speed.
for the resolution, it
Oh.
would like, because sometimes, like, I think my movement speed right now is set to 0.5. So if your resolution, like, if 0.5 doesn't work, well, I guess 0.5 should always work, but we were setting our movement speed to stuff like 2.75 or something like that, and it was creating an issue where suddenly you would jump forward because the extra 0.25 would eventually add up to a full pixel. Actually, I was wrong. I said 30%. According to those numbers, that'd be 3 times faster. I guess that would be 30% of it.
That'd be 300%.
Yeah. It'd be-
Right,
But anyway, it's essentially the same thing. I just
It's always
said in
there's always a weird
reverse.
semantic thing that happens when people are like, it's 100% faster. Like, does that or like it's 120% faster? So does that mean it's 1.2 times as fast, or like?
It's
or
because
you
it's
mean
1/3 the time, so in my mind, 30%, but it's actually, you're actually saving 60. It's actually, I wouldn't even say 300% faster, right? I would say, well, I guess you could say 300% faster. The math that'd be a weird way to do the math. I would just say a 60% reduction in the speed, in the time it took, would be like a more straightforward way of doing it. But yeah, also percents can be.
it's just the way
weird when
people
you're
say it.
talking
Like it's 120% faster could mean it's 20% faster, or it's, and the same thing with like 200%. It could mean twice as fast. Or sorry.
Well, theoretically, I think people misuse it a lot. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm
we're saying.
saying.
120% faster, people could misuse it. But what that really should mean is it's doubled plus 20% on that original of that. Original
Right,
value.
right. That is what it actually means. But people like people interchange the comparing of two things versus comparing one thing to how much it's improved.
Mhm.
You know what? I'm gonna make this Comic Sans font.
You monster.
I know. And you know what the words it says on my stream are is see Jeff draw. And now it's in Comic Sans, the ugliest of all fonts. I used to love Comic Sans. It was my favorite font when I was a kid. I was like,
Well, yeah,
this is.
childish sensibilities.
I was like, this is this is fun. Look at this. It's so laid back.
This is fun.
Alright. I will return.
Discord or something. Yes, you did. when I walk, I'm trying to make it so the player can get in line, right? When I try to put him in line, and I press the key to do that.
What's the bug, Marcus?
Oh, I see what it is. I thought it was shrinking him. It looked like I was pressing a button and it was shrinking him, but it's not. It's actually flipping him upside down. It must be something to do with the draw event on the player itself, or whatever's controlling the player sprite itself. I must have to turn.
Yeah,
that off.
in a minute I'll be up. Wait, so
At first it looked like it was physically shrinking him down.
how does it? How does
now I
this-
think there should be a character that has that ability.
Oh, I wrote that in my notes. A character that could shrink. Or a shrink ray you can wander in front of.
That'd be cool.
What?
Oh yeah, he goes in line, but
Someone should have an ability that's like a gun that makes someone bigger instead.
Oh,
or
here's also what I
also-
wanted to say about
That
the
is a good idea.
that'd be
he
cool.
goes in line and then he disappears. He does shrink down. Actually, he disappears. I think it must be. I need to. Where is the
So-
player's sprite being handled, Chris?
The player sprite. It was by the this is probably why, because it was by the player, but now it's by the camera draw thing.
Okay.
That probably is because in order to get them to draw in relation to the NPCs correctly, I had to have that thing draw them, so that it might have something to do with that.
Yeah, that would make some sort of sense. It's just, it was hilarious when I thought he was shrinking. He does kind of shrink. Like when he gets there, it seems like first it flips him upside down,
Yeah,
then
can
when
you
he
show me?
gets to where he's trying to walk to in the line, he just shrinks into nothingness.
It
So
might.
I need to
It
go-
also might be because I can't imagine. No, you don't do anything with the player movement, right? All of the stuff of their movement is coded.
No, I don't do anything at all with
Okay.
player movement. The only thing I was doing is I was going to disable player movement, which I have set up as another state. I just make it player state dot NPC, so you're acting like an NPC, and then I'll have a script that just says if you press any key, you get out of that state and go back to normal. But the idea is, you get into that state and then you just are handled by the AI controller until you're ready to move on.
You can.
Hello.
Hello.
Unless we don't want that to
They
work
say
that
hello.
way. I mean, I'll program it, but maybe we don't. Maybe that's part of you trying to hide is you can get in line.
I
Well, no, the
made
problem
a
would be if you don't. The NPCs would line up, in the spot that you're trying to line up, and it would be too obvious.
Hi.
Could you just have them check for check the whole area that the line could occupy for any players, and if the players are moving, and if they are not, then the people offset the...
Well, it works off of a queue. I'd have to add the player to the queue only when they're in that area. It'd be really weird. Maybe it could be done, but that's gonna take more
Or maybe it's
effort.
fine because then you can stand at the end of the line, but you have to move out.
Yeah, but then
when-
someone else is eventually gonna get in line and.
Yeah,
blow
but
up the spot.
that's the risk, right? At any moment, someone could walk over top of you and reveal.
But then
you.
why ever use a line? When you could just hide just as well just by walking around, right?
I thought about it. I was thinking about is there any advantage or what?
Also, you should be able to get on the bus.
What
Like,
is
physically
going to
get
be
on
the
Leave. Quit.
Leave the
Well,
queue.
you get on the bus and then, like we said, it teleports you somewhere else in the level.
That's how you forfeit.
Or like it brings you to the other side or something.
Well, if we do
The
something
way
like
I'm
that,
programming
from
it
like
is-
top to bottom, there should be like another lane or something, or like you leave on a bus on the bottom, and then like a monorail comes up on the top, and you got out up there.
So
But the way I'm programming it is like I designed the bus stop so that it could literally handle the player movement from there, and then the player will just if you hit the button, you get in line, and then you'll get on the bus, and it'll do all that stuff for you.
What if for the prototype, so that we can, and we can change this eventually if we want to, but like, what if for the prototype, so we get a feel for, you know, some of the abilities we might want to put in, the objective task / gem things, like, give you an ability we might one day assign to a character.
You mean like,
Maybe.
Well, you mean like they had like a power up? Like this is a
Yeah,
fast
yeah.
moving gem?
Yeah, like for now, you know, stuff we might do, you know, so we don't have to do characters for the prototype, but we might
Well, for
want
the prototype, I don't think we need any
gems or anything.
power ups, yeah, or any abilities really. We just need to.
Well,
Kill
for the
Hide.
second version, then I think before we put characters in, we just put gems with shit attached to things attached to them, and then we say, oh, these two things worked well together. Like maybe this is a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'll program it this way for now, and then if we decide that we don't want it to, if we want the player to have to try to blend in, we can figure that out. But part of the problem with the detection thing of like seeing if the player's around there is it's going to be so obvious when the player's walking by, because the player just walking by will cause all the NPCs to shift. You know, unless we make it like its own button, and then how do you distinguish? Then you're gonna have to have a hide and
Did you just throw a sock
plain
at me?
sight button. I did not throw a sock at you. A hide in plain sight button, and then or a.
Oh, you should tell Dave
like
about
a
the
blend in button.
So Marcus was saying, and I think this is a cool idea, Dave. Like, there should be like, what do you think about when you're in the background? There's just a, sneak to next nearest object quickly button. Like you peek out. You can peek out. Like hold it for a couple seconds, and then you just zoom to the next nearest object. It has a range.
Doesn't that take the skill out of it and the fun at like
That's
I don't
what
have the game to play.
Well, the skill would be
When to go.
in terms of timing it properly so that you don't get caught. Because
Yeah, but
like,
why not
the
just
other-
make it a little
I said
dash?
I was telling Chris and Jeff there are probably two ways to balance it, right? You have two things to worry about: timing and getting there, like the skill of doing it. And if you have to worry about both, I worry about it being tough. So if we want it to be more lean on the skill side, you have to make it easier not to get caught. So the dash animation should be like almost almost impossible to see.
And I will say this. I was saying this to them before. I worked on trying to get a dash to feel right for hours yesterday, and I just couldn't. And the reason for that is it just does not feel natural with the walk speed we have. But I like the walk speed we have. So right now I put in, a run button, and I'm gonna do it like we talked about yesterday with the like you run and then you hold down and you just sort of do like a knee slide, and it's an easy animation. It feels right. Feels right for this type of game. So if we want, and also your attack is kind of like an instant dash with an attack to it. And I know this is a separate thing for hiding, but like I feel like it would feel more natural when you're behind things to have what Marcus is proposing, and then we could also still have a skillful way to do it. That would be.
My initial feeling is that I'm very against it doing it for you. It's like it feels to me like how Sonic games feel like shit. One of the reasons
that is
like,
precisely
that homing,
but-
attack thing. That
well,
he does.
But like, what we were
3D
comparing
games.
it with was Assassin's Creed. How how good it feels to play something like an Assassin's Creed movement.
I've never played
um,
Assassin's Creed, but
Like how it feels cool to be able to climb up those buildings, and it takes the annoyance out of the process. You can really get moving. You can really move in Assassin's Creed because you don't have to worry about fucking a million button presses. But I think we should just program it in and see what it feels like.
and like I said, like the here's I have a feeling I'm not gonna budge on that, but I'd certainly entertain it, I guess. But like the background there should be like more skillful movement. Like you should like it's higher risk and demands more skill, but you could move quicker if you're good at it. Like you have to be slow with the NPCs if you're moving with the NPCs. Like making both like
Well, here's
just
the
so
other
easy
thing.
and slow. Like what's the trade-off? Why not? Why?
You,
like,
I have a run and there is a quick movement like the.
The trade-off is the timing. Like you gotta be able to, if you are running around in the background, there's a case that you will get caught. There's a possibility you'll get caught because someone will see you do it. So you either need to balance by, if it's gonna be skill-based, you need to make that dash pretty much like even bother animating the person. Just make it like a couple of lines.
What if it's like this? Because
the dash should be.
wait.
If I were doing it, I would just do a slide dash where you hold down, hit like the.
It's so obvious.
Whatever,
like,
and you slide, you get low and slide like a slide dash in any other video game.
So obvious. I think that I have a feeling that that's going to be very easy to see.
Yeah. So how with the slide dash thing, how do you determine? Like how I was gonna do it with the slide dash that I'm working on right now is like you start sliding, and the more you hold down, the more friction it applies. So you can sort of like determine where you want to stop. So if there's an element to like, what if it's not locked to where the objects are in the room and you can just peek around them, but what if you can do that anywhere, like what Marcus is talking about? A quick dash, you hold down one button and then you maybe, I don't know, you can do something, like you said.
The dash should just be hold down, hit A, and you slide along the floor behind things. Or when you're behind things.
So you want two different movesets for the front and the back entirely? Like, is that?
I mean, I guess you could do a slide dash when walking around, but why would you ever? An NPC would never do that, so it's irrelevant.
I have an idea for how I can get all this stuff to work. Just it'll be a while. I'm really working hard on trying to get the movement to feel like it should feel.
But I'm very against just like hitting left when you feel like it's safe and your character just moves automatically to right to the, like magnetizes zips to the next thing. I also feel like you guys aren't or maybe like thinking of the level design as how it sort of is right now. But like, there's gonna be so much crap back there.
I think that will be like. I think there needs to be open spaces.
It will be mostly obscured in the background. Like there will be. Think of it as like we're gonna put spots where you like it's gonna be all obscured, and then we just pick the spots where there are no obstructions.
I think you're gonna have a hard time making that look natural. Like real life areas aren't that cluttered.
I just think if there's too much, I think there's a balance, right? If there's too much clutter, there is no skill to ducking and whatever.
There should be clutter. Like that's like noise is part of the game, right? Like
yeah, it is. But it also shouldn't just look like we dumped a bunch of stuff on there just to make
noise and negative space. Yes, is part of the part of the game.
I mean, think about the room you're standing in right now. Probably there's a shitload of stuff against the walls, right? And
yeah, but think about how much of that you could actually hide behind.
Like a couch would cover an entire room wall, and you could just duck behind that and move the entire length of it and never even be seen at all.
Look at your couch. Look at your level. What your couch looks like. It's like yes, that couch takes up most of that room, but then there's the spots in between.
Yeah, in this spot, you dash. You do a slide dash. Are you watching?
And I think if it's
like
it's either gonna wind up looking too cluttered, or it's gonna wind up I think the dash is gonna be too obvious. But maybe we can try all of it.
I don't think we can really talk about what's too cluttered until we see it. Until we see how it looks.
If they're saying it's mostly covered, like. If I'm looking at my room right now, I would not consider my room to be mostly covered. You can see pretty much, besides the couch, which is the only example, you can see behind every single object in this room.
Oh
There's
yeah, there's
nothing.
shitload more of this stuff than.
You know, maybe if someone has a bookshelf in their house, that would be another example of something you could hide behind.
I see it
But that's what-
as being roughly twice as cluttered.
I think my whole and this is I've been worried about this the whole time because no one really has been caring at all about the hiding aspect. Everyone just cares
Dude,
about.
what are you talking about? We literally
blending
talk
in.
about it every day. We have talked about it. Just agreeing with you is not caring. about it.
Saying we want our mechanic to work slightly differently doesn't mean we don't care about we're putting input into that mechanic right now. We're actively that's what we're talking about.
This literally. What other time before this have we talked about?
Yesterday
how
we talked about this.
what-
You and me.
No, we talked about a counter button yesterday.
We did, but the hiding and stuff went into that. Like, why
This is
would
a
you?
silly argument. We obviously care about all aspects of the game. The hiding. aspect-
I didn't mean to offend. I didn't mean to say like you guys don't care. I just mean like you're not.
Placing as much
not-
important as.
Yeah. You're placing much more importance on the blending in part, so you're not really.
But also
thinking about
that like
the hiding
the
part.
whole.
I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about both parts. This is me thinking about both parts, and I presented a option, and the immediate reaction was dive down your throat. No, this I like.
Am I? All right, hold on. Let me check the tone here, because I don't think I'm being. Am I acting like a dick? Because I'm.
No, I don't think you're acting like a dick. I
I'm
would
getting
say,
is
I would
that
say,
I am like jumping. Like I said, I'm jumping down everyone's throat.
I think you're.
The immediate reaction was like it was at first hesitant, and then more as time went on, you're more and more. This is not gonna happen.
No.
I say it's not gonna
No,
happen. And when
said
in the
right
very
away, I was
beginning,
like,
I said, "Hey, let's program it in and
Um,
try both," and then we could have just fucking stopped there and moved on. and said,
Am I?
Just.
I feel weird.
I think
right
you're
now.
over.
Like, I feel like.
I think you're overstating the degree to which we, like I think you're overstating the fact that, we have talked about the hiding. Like it's just there's.
Fine. Let me rephrase it so I'm not offending anyone. You're not seeing the hiding as I see it, with all the junk on the screen and it being like that. Yeah.
I do so, like talking about how much clutter there is. I think it's pointless until we have a level to show. Like when you say a lot of clutter, it might mean a totally different thing to me or Marcus. What we consider to be a lot of clutter in the level. So we can't really talk about that until we see it. But we see it, and we all agree that it's about clutter in some spaces and negative spaces. I don't think that. What I will say is, I don't think the spaces with a lot of clutter should just be. They should be as they are now. They shouldn't be more cluttered. Not how much stuff is on the screen, but the cluttered areas on the screen should have empty spaces in between where you can see stuff. It shouldn't just be totally crammed in there to the point where it's basically like every hallway. This whole hallway I can walk straight up, and this whole blah blah blah. And I think we would all agree with that. But like talking about it in any other way is pointless at this point, because like. We all, what this really comes down to is the disagreement on what the core movement option should feel like in the back, and I'm right on the middle with that. Like I think there's a place for skill, and there's a place for, like, I want to hold a button and do something that's relatively, not. Like Marcus said, we can put in both. We can see how they feel and how they work. One nice thing about the hold the button thing is that if you know how far you're going, and the computer's doing it for you, you could make it look real nice. One of the biggest challenges with programming the movement so far, assuming this is going to be mostly used in the back, is like a balance between it feeling right, being able to hide, and modulating your speed in a way that looks natural. And those things have become that as I do the movement more, and anyone can make their own movement system if they want. Remember, the netcode is not tied to that. So if anyone wants to try any totally new system, just make a new move script. Don't mess with the one I have, and we can combine them later. But like it has been very challenging, I have found, to balance those things. So like just like I was saying with the dash yesterday, it just does. There is no version of the dash that I am getting input from the player that I have found yet that feels natural coming out of that speed without a run button. But we'll see. Like I said, it really is.
I don't know. I don't know how this became such a big thing. I thought my criticisms were relatively innocuous, and then I was.
I think you just.
I wasn't
offended.
Attacking you guys.
I wasn't offended. I just think you maybe talk close to your mic in a way that sounds more aggressive than you mean it to. But like I think that yesterday like the how much mechanical skill you could have thing has been a point of contention. Was a point of contention, yes, with yesterday with the counter button, and today with this, because you are very much against there being just a button to do something where a player could put it in, and I totally understand that. But also, I think if this is a game about awareness, sometimes that's the right choice, and we'll have to playtest that to feel that. And I think you should be more open-minded to it. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to the park now. I will be back later.